On Sunday, December 20th, I'm Waverle Monroe. Now, we're following breaking news. Omaha police released video showing the confrontation that ended with officers killing a 35-year-old man. Officers say this investigation is connected to a call where 2 people were hurt, where Omaha police are investigating a possible homicide. Well, this week, the number 3 Republican in the House is facing a vote. The White House's current border coordinator will step down, as she promised. Well, now to another legal setback for President Trump and his supporters. I spoke exclusively with retired astronaut and Nebraska native Clayton Anderson about the fall. That's why they say it's best to send off your gifts early.
Waverly, you were there to have some fun last week.
I was. It was a whole lot of fun. If you were to try to record it,
it's not great.
Yeah, little tiny little dots. And is it still windy out?
Oh, it sure is.
Oh, what's the wind chill?
It is closer to freezing.
Oh, says that it's probably not going to happen, right?
It is December, guys.
Yep. Oh, hopefully they're carefully shifting. I don't want to be thing being thrown around in there. Yeah, did you see the clause on that though?
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think.
Yeah. Hey, Governor Pete Ricketts.
I've got both.
We would love $1 million lottery in Nebraska. I've been here for about 10 minutes and I want to step out so you can see what's going on. This was the first target. The gunman pistol whipped an employee, though the people that were named in those emails question the motives of officers. Land ho! I'm up on a pirate ship here at Bellevue Berry Farm. We're getting ready for the Renaissance Festival of Nebraska. The residents of Hamburg said they want a bigger and better levee. Well, now they're finally getting it. The scene you see behind me isn't real, but it could be. Both at the state and local levels, officials realize there is a hesitancy when it comes to minorities getting the vaccine. Cavett also recommended the health department hire a North Omaha coordinator to oversee disparities in the area. At the end of a rainbow, a bittersweet moment inside Life Care Center of Omaha, honoring those who were lost due to COVID-19. Well, there are still a lot of appointments available for this Saturday. If you didn't know any better, you probably wouldn't guess that this school used to be a target. We've shown you so many stories of our essential workers fighting to save loved ones. And they're off. 14 solar-powered vehicles racing through 4 states, ending. Well, David and Alexandra, Bud Christensen is in the Pottawatomie County Jail. It's just about 4 miles from where investigators believe he dumped the body of an Omaha college student decades ago. A DNA breakthrough could finally bring justice 40 years since the murder of Feroza Daganpour in Pottawatomie County. She was reported missing from the University of Nebraska Omaha on August 14, 1983. Later that day, her body was found by this bridge in Crescent.
Over the next several months, several agencies worked together to try to find Feroza's killer.
Sergeant Jim Doty with the sheriff's office says the case went cold and stayed that way for decades until last fall when a friend of Daganpour called in a tip, which led investigators back to the case file. While reviewing the case reports, we did find evidence that had been collected at the scene that could possibly benefit from DNA analysis. We sent several of these items to the laboratory, the Iowa DCI laboratory, for DNA testing. While the tip itself didn't pan out, the effort did. Doty says a match in the DNA CODIS system led them to 67-year-old Bud Christensen in Omaha. He's since been extradited to Pottawatomie County and charged with first-degree murder.
Those results allowed us more insight and eventually answers regarding this homicide.
Crime scene technician Hadley Mikovic says she can't even begin to explain advancements in technology that led investigators to Christensen.
Things that a crime lab is able to do now, I would always encourage law enforcement officers to work with their state and local crime labs to kind of review their evidence. Let Feroza's case be an example that it is never too late to seek answers.
Finding justice for Daganpour was always Doty's goal, and he finally got to share that with her brother, who lives in London.
He was shocked. He couldn't quite process it yet, but to be able to talk to him for an hour and learn more about her and who she was as a person is what makes all the hard work worth it. Well,
Pottawatomie County Attorney Matt Wilbur now wants a conviction that will put an end to this case. He's asking anyone with information or who has talked to Christensen in the last 38 years to call Crime Stoppers. That number, it's on your screen, is 712-328-STOP. The rocket launched from China last week, carrying the main module of China's new space station into orbit. But once its mission was complete, the body dropped into a low orbit, circling Earth and putting it into a position where it could crash land. Nebraska native and retired astronaut Clayton Anderson worked with NASA for years and was part of multiple space missions.
At NASA, we say we plan it, we train it, and we fly it.
According to China's National Space Agency, most of the 23-ton rocket measuring 10 stories tall burned up upon re-entry, making it one of the largest pieces of space junk to ever fall to the Earth. Clayton says China is behind, but not new to space exploration.
They put a space station up for a period of time. They did a 5-minute spacewalk in that station. With all the things that we've done and the Russians have done and other countries have done, that information is available for them to look at and learn from. So their learning curve's a lot quicker than ours was.
Anderson says it was unlikely the rocket would ever pose a threat to populated areas, but it is unusual that Chinese engineers didn't plan a landing area before launching into space.
If you're going to build this big rocket and you're going to take something into space, the idea should be that you're going to prepare and plan for and be able to deorbit this safely.
Yeah, I mean, Clayton was also talking about, it probably was just a mistake that they did. Obviously, it wasn't done purposefully, but, whether they'll admit to that is kind of up in the air. But as long as it came down safely, I think that we can all do just a nice little sigh of relief there.
And then learning the lesson like we've talked about, if we're going to be sending more rockets to check the moon, check Mars, just have that plan laid out to say, if we can, let's try and get the rocket to land somewhere in the ocean, just in the water.
Right.
Somewhere.
Yeah, away from boats and things like that. Preventing another surge of COVID-19 in Douglas County. CHI infectious disease doctor David Quimby says the only way to move past the pandemic is herd immunity.
Vaccinations do is make people so they've seen the disease before, even if they haven't actually been sick with it.
Douglas County has a little more than 27% of those 16 and older fully vaccinated, far from where we need to be.
So people are estimating you probably need 70 to 85%, somewhere in that range of people with some sort of immunity.
While herd immunity seems far down the road for Douglas County as a whole, small pockets of the community are already there. And we're here at Exarban Village Senior Living, where 99% of their residents are vaccinated, achieving herd immunity.
We feel the life coming back into our hallways and our community.
Exarban Senior Living has been able to lift restrictions since most of its residents and a majority of the staff are vaccinated. Director of Nursing Rebecca Knapp says visitors and activities can now resume.
Biggest things that has boosted morale for our residents is to be able to be fully back into our restaurant style communal dining.
But Knapp says there is a lingering fear as cases outside the senior living center continue to go up.
Our abilities to provide those activities and those visitors to our residents may be diminished based on the general population positivity rates.
A large amount of people aren't ever going to get vaccinated. This is going to keep trickling on and on, which nobody really wants.